Tuesday's Guardian. The Met have a new policy. What's this? Pro-Palestinian marches. What's going on?
Yeah, we'll arrest people quicker at protests from now on, Met Police Deputy Chief says. So, yeah, this is The Guardian. And they've sort of said, oh, yeah, maybe we should do our job.
Well, who do they mean? Do they mean people who are breaking the law, or do they mean...
Well, yeah, people who break... So,
right, well...
Yeah, hopefully not people who aren't breaking the law.
Well, you say that, but you see, with these new powers that the police have to arrest people for being, say, noisy or...
No, this is more just like the traditional Jew hate. This is things like calling for jihad, swastikas and whatnot.
But they said these protests are like they're almost entirely peaceful. 36 people have been arrested because they don't arrest anybody for breaking the law.
That's the thing. So this is in The Guardian, and The Guardian makes a brilliant couple of points. So super Guardian, they say, oh look, they've been largely peaceful. There's actually been about 450 arrests
for violence.
Arrests, general violence, but 32 or 36 people have then been charged.
Yes.
But then the point is that they haven't been doing their job. So who knows how many people weren't arrested in that time?
Yeah.
And on top of that, who knows how many people haven't been charged? Like the three women who wore these paragliders, who came in and killed 300 young people at this music festival.
They were wearing like a sticker with a paraglide.
And they basically got a 12-month conditional discharge or whatever and said, oh, people were really heated at the time. They're showing actual support for rapist terrorists, and they get away with it.
But why should that be illegal? I mean, I agree with you. I think it's horrific, but I don't think it should be illegal.
Well, it is illegal. You can't show support for a terrorist organisation.
Okay, so...
That's illegal.
But Lewis's point is that you don't think it should be, right? You're saying that you should be able to express horrible views.
I think you should be... I think if you're a citizen of this country, you should be able to... But if you're not a citizen...
You should not... I don't believe you should. Well, you can't. And the other thing...
I don't want the police...
Well, The Guardian says here, it says, on the topic of two-tier policing, and then it says, a theory falsely claiming that police treat white people taking part in disorder more harshly than minority groups. Well, that isn't what what is referred to. What it's talking about is how there's a hypocrisy here about how different groups are policed. They're not just talking about the disorder in terms of public protests.
No, they're not just talking about that.
It's across the spectrum here, where you have a group of Muslim men out with knives, causing violence, and no police at all, as a deliberate policy that they've talked about.
I mean, that's an obvious example, isn't it? Because, it's definitely criminal to be wandering the streets with machetes.
With knives, yeah. But for The Guardian, he'd say a theory falsely claiming. It's like... Where are you coming in with that information, Guardian, when it's been proven in clips over and over again?
Are you suggesting...
This is something that's actually... The Guardian lied.
I mean, that's outrageous.
That aren't representing the actual truth. Sorry. Anyway, getting back to the story.
But even The Telegraph said the exact same thing.
No, but getting back to the story...
This
is in The Guardian. But the point is that this is the Deputy Police Commissioner admitting that they should have come down and done their job come in October. And the problem is that then from that, it emboldened these protesters to come out and just with the most outrageous racism and whatnot. Yes. And also it set the tone of the policing of these type of marches where people can just get away with it.
Well, didn't the police arrest a guy for holding a sign saying Hamas are terrorists? Well, I mean, I think they said they did it for his safety.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's right. That's been going on like crazy. The truth is that this guy said he's a member of the police. The police are a questionable organisation.
Well, I mean, I think we can definitely all agree that there has been two-tier policing, and it's a flat-out denial of it. I mean, the example you gave of the jihad, where the police put out a tweet saying jihad is a peaceful thing.
I mean, spiritual question.
We can have debates about the limits of free speech, but surely we can all agree that the police shouldn't be lying about the content of what people are saying, right?
But the police lie. They've historically always lied.
Now you can see those lies. When you can see the actual the footage, and then you have The Guardian. But go back 20 years, you're not going to be seeing it. And that's the world that we live in now.
Yeah, it's creepy. OK, we're going to move on now to The Times.
Sorry.
Lewis, what was that?
He's your hype man, he's like a rapper.
Oh, I get it. OK, The Times.
The Times!
I'll try that again. Moving on to The Times.
The Times!
Is this going to be a theme tonight?
I know.
OK. Okay, and what's this one about anyway, Lewis?
This is riots. Riots show why public must be told more about mass terror attacks.
Talk me through the logic there. Who's saying this?
Who's saying this? There's this guy. He wrote basically a book. He's a barrister named Jonathan Hall, and he said, he wrote a book about this, and he says that the problem with the riots is that the people weren't told that it wasn't a Muslim who did this, and it was just like a British person. It wasn't a guy who came on off of the boat. It was
so he's talking about the false tweets. They identified the wrong person in the Southport.
And that's why there were riots. There were riots because the people were fed bad information, and like I have said on this program, that people need to know the truth, and this is not an open society. But it's also saying horribly that they're saying, what are they saying? They're saying that people wouldn't have rioted if they didn't know, but they...
No, because the public don't like this feeling of being played.
Yeah.
And that's what's been going on.
So wait, are you saying it wasn't just the misinformation?
No, this has been a long-term thing where the public feel like they're not getting the information. They feel like the government are trying to manage everybody and go, no, we're not going to... And feel being played by the traditional media outlets where we can't reveal the stuff. And unfortunately, that allows bad faith actors to step in. That allows misinformation to step in. We've seen this before with previous terror attacks where this information's held back.
Yeah, so when we've seen attacks where they don't identify, even when they know who it is, say it is a Muslim asylum seeker or something, they will withhold that because they don't trust the public with that information. You also get a lot of people saying all the time, you hear it again and again, this person had mental health issues. We don't know why they did it, even when someone runs into a crowd screaming Allahu Akbar, or precisely why.
And then they hope that it goes away. So a few years ago, where you had 3 gay men killed, stabbed, and the man running around shouting Allahu Akbar, and they were killed in a homophobic attack. It just sort of was like... no one really mentioned it in the media, and then
we don't know why this was done.
And then it was kind of announced a year later in court. And
the guy was shouting his motive out loud.
And so we at the time weren't savvy enough, I think, to pick up on these.
No, we're not savvy enough. We're savvy enough now. What this guy is saying, he's saying there are conspiracy theorists and grievance merchants who are out there promoting this stuff.
There are, because they step into
But the truth is that people are, I mean, I can't speak for the people, but the people are furious out there. They're worried and furious, and that this guy is just basically apologize. They're saying we need more.
No, he's not apologising.
I don't think he's saying more censorship. I think he's saying more transparency.
Yes, but he's still saying that this action might not have happened, but it would have happened because the people are...
Well, I think we don't know for sure, but I think you can certainly say that the misinformation was part of it. But I think it's very interesting that people, when they were told that this was an asylum seeker, believed it straight away, because that kind of thing has happened an awful lot and has been covered up an awful lot. So actually, I think there is something to be said that if we were just open about all the information, trust the public a little bit more.
And there would still be riots because
there wouldn't necessarily be
because the people have not their needs have not been met.
If they'd been given the information, arguably there would not have been what we saw happen.
All right, well, we'll never get to the bottom of this, will we? But let's get straight into it with the Mail now.
In the Mail, surrogate mother wins access to biological son in landmark case. This took place in is this in America? In the UK. It took place in London.
But the gay couple who paid for the surrogate mother are claiming that the fact that the mother wants to see the biological child is homophobic. Is that homophobic?
I don't think it's homophobic. I think it's just it's ironic that it's I hate to say it, but it isn't. You want to when you mess with women and children, you better be careful.
I don't think anyone has messed with women here. I think what's happened is there's been a surrogacy deal. Which is effectively about the ethics of buying a child. Doesn't the child have the right to know its biological parents?
I would say it does, and I don't think 2 gay guys should have the right to buy a baby. To buy babies, and I think that's what this surrogacy is.
Well, I don't think in this case they bought a baby. I believe it was an arrangement with a friend's sister, and they had a deal which was that she would have contact with the child after the birth, and they reneged on it.
So they were reneging on the deal.
By saying it's homophobic and saying that this child...
obviously not homophobic.
Well, no, exactly. They said there was no vacancy for her because they wanted same-sex parents, and they said that the baby was being raised within the LGBT community.
What does that mean?
Well, exactly.
It means they didn't have a mother, and that's what makes this so
not
evil.
Born in the LGBT community, but raised in the LGBT.
Right, I see, okay.
But
Okay, Lewis, go on.
But no, I mean, as anybody, I mean, I've had problems with seeing my children.
Yeah, but that's for a totally different reason.
But the truth is, it's a horrible, horrible feeling, which is why surrogacy might be illegal.
Well, there are a lot of people calling for it to become illegal.
Yeah.
There is the ethical issue. That child hasn't made the choice to be taken away from its biological parent, right? So shouldn't that be something we should be talking about?
Men and women are important. Are different types of humans that provide different needs and fulfillments to a child.
Yes.
So,
but what about gay adoption, Josh?
That's fine, but I think a female influence is still important in a baby's life.
Yes. Although, there are many gay couples who raise kids brilliantly, and there are many single-parent families where the child is raised brilliantly.
Sure. But
it's not necessarily true that just because it's optimum doesn't mean that you can't do it a different way. I think the ethics of surrogacy is slightly different because you're effectively treating a baby as a commodity to be bought, right?
That's certainly, it seems in this case. And because they had this agreement. So I don't think that this child should be with these men at all, frankly. Not because they're a gay couple, but because they seem like horrible people, frankly, who reneged on this deal.
You know what? It's not because they seem like horrible people. That's not because they said, we're in the LGBT
No, but what they did was... No, they kicked off... She came round, the mum... She'd come round to see... They had a pre-arrangement to see that. Yeah. And then on the door... They flipped out and said, "No, actually, you can't come in." And then the police had to be called, and she had actually all recorded.
Yeah.
And
this happens.
The judge said it was
this
terrible.
Happens to every single father or mother has been divorced. This is what happens. This is why divorce should be illegal, and so should surrogacy.
Divorce should be illegal.
Yes,
you heard it here first. We're going to move on.
Says the man who's been divorced.
Well, yeah, you should be in prison, Lewis. I'll agree with that.